Hi. So somebody, Harmony Hope, suggested that I do another video on mental hunger for people new to the channel, which I will do because that's a good idea, isn't it? Also for people new to the channel, if you're thinking I look like I've just got off a farm, I probably have. I'm actually still on the farm, and this is little Asbo. Oh, so cute. All right, mental hunger. Oh God, sorry, I'm strangling him. Well, actually, he's strangling himself with the headphone rope. All right, so mental hunger. All right, easily defined as thinking about food. So that's quite straightforward, isn't it? If you're thinking about food, that means that that is your brain trying to cue you to eat. And it's not normal to actually think about food the whole time. Problem is when you have an eating disorder, you get so used to thinking about food the whole time that you start to think that that's just normal, and you don't necessarily even clock that you're thinking about food the whole time and that that's abnormal, and that might be your brain trying to tell you something. At least that was the case for me. It was only really when I started to understand, oh, my brain's just not like thinking about food for the heck of it. It's actually trying to communicate with me. I should go and eat. And mental hunger generally will be there until you are out of energy deficit, until you're fully nutritionally rehabilitated. And I just want to make the point that it doesn't matter what weight you are. If you have mental hunger, that is your body trying to cue you to eat, okay? And you don't ignore mental hunger. Ignoring mental hunger is restricting, right? So that's the straightforward version of mental hunger. Like most things, a little bit more complicated than that, really. So you got the straightforward thinking about food. You're sitting there dreaming of a packet of salt and vinegar crisps or something. That's really straightforward. The least straightforward ways of mental hunger are, well, there's quite a few of them. One sort of category of them is thinking about whether or not you think you're hungry, and sitting there wondering, do I have mental hunger? Do I have physical hunger? Have I eaten enough? I think I might have eaten enough. Maybe I haven't eaten enough. I don't know if I've got mental hunger or not. I don't think I've got mental hunger. Maybe I haven't got a mental hunger. Look, if hunger is in the subject line of the thought that your brain's emailing to you, then you have mental hunger. So that's just a rule. If you're sitting there wondering whether you have hunger, you do. Because it's not normal to sit there and wonder whether you have mental hunger or not. All right, it's not normal to sit there, like people who do not have eating disorders do not sit there all day going like, I wonder if I'm hungry or not. I wonder if I've got mental hunger. No, they're thinking about other shit. So if you're thinking of anything within that category, that's mental hunger. Now, another thing that's mental hunger, and this is where it gets even sort of trickier, is, say for me, for example, I had an exercise compulsion, really bad one, and I would sometimes sit there and think about exercise I wanted to do, or it would just pop into my head, I should go for a walk, I should do something. That is actually mental hunger, and I'll tell you why. It's because my brain had this theory, well, at least part of my brain had this theory, other part of my brain didn't go along with that theory, but part of my brain had this theory that if I did a bit more exercise, I'd allow myself to eat more. And so my brain saw movement as a means to being allowed to eat. And so therefore, if I'm thinking about movement, it's because my brain wants me to be allowed to eat more. So really what I'm doing is I have that desire to do the movement because behind that is a desire to eat. Does that make sense? I bet those of you that have compulsive movement will be like, yeah, that makes sense. And so for me, thinking about compulsive movement was also mental hunger. Not just that, because I also had that, part of my compulsive movement was just busyness all the time, hating, terrified of not having something to do. Now, the reason I was terrified of not having something to do is because being busy and distracted me from my mental hunger. And so that fear that would creep in, should I have 20 minutes or something of not having something to do, and that's sort of like, oh, I've got to find something to do, that's actually mental hunger, because I'm trying to distract myself from the mental hunger. So the desire to distract myself is in response to the mental hunger. That means I've got mental hunger. See, I told you it gets a little bit complicated, doesn't it? But I bet a lot of you will be like, yeah, I kind of know that. Because you do kind of know it, don't you? And so anything that we sort of do that's a behavior that is designed to distract us from hunger, to fill time, when we start to have the desire to do those things, that's actually mental hunger. Now, another one is when you have the desire to seek permission to eat in any way, shape, or form. That's actually about mental hunger. So a really good example of that is thinking, I want to go and watch a YouTube video of somebody talking about recovery, and that sort of gives me permission to eat. So if you have the desire to come and get on YouTube and start watching recovery videos, I would tell you that that's actually probably mental hunger, isn't it? Because you just want to watch through YouTube videos so that somebody will tell you that it's okay to eat as much as you want to eat, and then you feel that you can eat more afterwards. So even the desire to research, get involved with, consume recovery resources can actually be mental hunger. And then another really straightforward form of mental hunger is cookbook obsessions, cook show obsessions, wanting to cook for people obsessions, anything to do with cooking. Again, that's a really straightforward form of mental hunger. There's probably more that I can't think about off the top of my head, but that is the most of them, you know. And then from that, you'll be able to look at your own stuff and your own brain and how your version of mental hunger, what other things your brain actually thinks about or you distract yourself with, which is actually about mental hunger. All right, hope that helps. Bye.